Hi everybody, my name is Saskia Gense and I'm an organizational psychologist and a facilitator. And in our work, we deal a lot with changes. And these changes are quite relevant now today, so that's why I want to share them with this little online training. The model that I want to share with you today is the model of a guy called Geert Hofstede. And Geert Hofstede was a famous Dutch social psychologist who recently has passed away, but he left us some beautiful work, and the work has to do with change. Now let's look at the change curve of Geert Hofstede. Geert actually developed this model when he was studying intercultural change, so how people feel when they transition from one culture to the other, which is a really big and an abrupt change. But what we are going to is a big change as well. So I think this change curve is quite enlightening. Now this pink line of this change curve is the line of average mood over time. This is our well-being line. So if we're on the pink line, we feel okay in life. The green line is my emotion as I go through rapid change. Now here I am just living my life and everything is okay, and now Corona comes. And during Corona time, the emotions shift quite significantly. And at this stage, we have decided to work from home. Now, in the beginning, we go through a phase which Hofstede describes as the honeymoon phase. And in the honeymoon phase, we feel like, okay, we can do this. This is the okay, we can do this phase. We make a plan, we try to work hard, and actually, during that phase, our brain helps us a little bit as well. All these beautiful hormones are produced in our brain that help us cope with short-term stress. So this is the okay, we can do this phase. But as time continues, our senses, they'll get a bit agitated. We get a bit overstimulated over time. And as we get overstimulating, the current situation is just not fun anymore. So our mood starts to decline. We are not good. Geert Hofstede describes this phase in his theory, the culture shock. And let's call it the change shock. And in the change shock, we just think that the current situation is not fun anymore. And we long to our old normal, whilst we realize that we can't change anything in this new normal. So this is a phase where we feel resentment and we feel uneasy. And we get to the bottom of the curve. As we get to the bottom of the curve, we start to explore new behaviors, new strategies to cope, new rituals, new ways of working together. And slowly our mood starts to improve, and eventually we reach a new normal and we continue with our life. Now, sometimes when the change is not so fun, it can also be that we end up here, where the new normal is maybe not fabulous, but it's just the way it is for a little bit. Now this curve is quite easy to understand. It's a change curve, but now the complicated situation. Generally, we are not alone. And we are all experiencing this change curve, but not just at the same time. For instance, when I live together with a partner, my partner might go through a change curve where he has a very small honeymoon phase. He goes into the crisis a bit earlier, maybe not as deep. He figures out a way and he is here. And maybe I have a teenage son who thinks not going to school is really awesome, then starts to miss his friends terribly and gets to this new normal. And now at this moment, it is Saturday, 12 o'clock. So in the timeline, we are living at, which one shall we choose? Here, it's Saturday, 12 o'clock. And now we are all in different stages. For instance, the partner is doing really well and is quite positive and stable and is figuring out a way to make this work. Then the teenager is on the way down. He locked himself in his room with a bag of potato chips, and you are sitting in the living room wondering how your house has turned into the zoo as it is. And you can feel, if you from this perspective look at all these other people, you can feel quite isolated. And it's quite easy, it's really easy to take it personal. He never understands me. Oh my God, I'm doomed with this teenager. The reality is that everybody is on their own curve. It's not personal. It is just the situation we are currently in. And I think it's really important to understand and to be patient with each other. So slowly developing new ways of working, having patience are all things that help. But also accepting that we are going through this emotionally murky phase for a little bit. And that just puts our mind at ease a little bit as well. So we slowly develop new ways of working, each of us in a slightly different timeline. What is important is that we communicate a lot, but then once we figured out new ways of working, we give ourselves time to train. Because if we want to change behavior, it takes a little bit of time. So if you have a fabulous idea, don't be disappointed if your teenage son is not picking it up straight away. There is a training phase needed. I really hope with everybody else that we find a vaccination soon. Otherwise, this is an opportunity to learn some new skills. And at least I got to share some wonderful insights of Geert Hofstede with you. And I wish you all the very best.